Even though Toys McCoy and Camber USA pursue drastically different values, they are both perfect choices in such an economic downturn. The sweatshirt I'm wearing inside here, this is from a brand called Toys McCoy. This is exactly what happens when someone creates a replica with obsession. There are a lot of interesting details. The original sweatshirt was invented to replace the wool sweaters that they used to wear when people were working out. In order to keep the body warm, they made the hem and the cuff very long and narrow, so it'll limit the airflow. This V-notch under the collar, this was invented so it'll collect sweat. Also, you can see that this is a stretchy rib fabric. This helps putting on and taking off the sweatshirt much easier. The stitching they used on the cuff and on the neckband is very particular, and it is in order to replicate the original. The sweatshirt I have does not have any, but Toys McCoy is also very famous for their playful graphics. In contrast, they never joke around with their quality. After losing to the US, Japan suffered from extreme poverty, and meanwhile, they also witnessed how Americans had strong and wealthy lifestyles, and it was very natural for them to admire how Americans live and admire their culture, including fashion. Some of the most representative fashion styles that they got inspired from happened to be what the American soldiers were wearing at the time in Japan, which are military and workwear. Japan is also very famous for their craftsmanship. It is not very strange to find craftsmen who's doing their family business for more than a century. They will be making stuff like Japanese swords, or their traditional masks, or even rice cakes with passion. Their interest in American fashion combined with the craftsmanship mentality deeply rooted in their culture, it's not strange to find clothing like this. And just by experiencing this, I could tell how much they value the original and think that the original is the most beautiful form of its own kind. As much as they appreciate the original, I also appreciate how they could pull this off with such perfection. This is a sweatshirt and sweatpants setup I bought from Camber USA. First thing I notice is the heavy fabric. They are very well known for their heavy fabric clothing, and that's the first phrase you can see on their website. The finishing on this clothing is very rough. There was an armpit hair growing out, which was the leftover thread that got clumped in between. I cut them out and it did not affect the functioning threads. It wasn't malfunctioning, but it's really not nice to find defects like that. Camber USA also uses cheaper methods. The stitching and the fabric they used are cheaper compared to the ones they used for Toys McCoy's sweatshirt. My general critique on this piece is that they've done a very rough execution. Although I mentioned that they've used cheaper methods, that does not necessarily mean that the execution was poorly done or it's more fragile. This feels extremely durable, and the oversized fit also gives a very steady silhouette for any body type. Camber USA's execution gives me a feeling that they're not a fashion brand, but their intention is to become more of a business that provides tools that people would choose to wear when they're working or exercising in a cold and harsh environment. This raw and wild vibe that this clothing gives makes this truly a one-of-a-kind. This has a very strong and unique character, which makes Camber USA clothing very appealing. Even though Toys McCoy and Camber USA pursue drastically different values, they are both perfect choices in such an economic downturn. In such an era, there's not much money to waste, so we have to spend money more wisely. Both of them have strong and lasting qualities, and they are both classics, so they can technically never go out of styles. And I can guarantee that Toys McCoy and Camber USA will be producing the same pieces until they go out of business, and due to inflation, it would be cheaper to buy it now than later. If you feel like you're gonna need a gray sweatshirt in some point of your life, getting the classics with good qualities would always be a smart choice.
맛있다.
비교가 과하지 않아. 딱
맛있다.
묵직하게 이게 스트레이트다 이러고 딱 꼽는 그런 느낌. 나는 여기 이후로 이제 그 어떤 피자집에도 그 기대치가 사라졌어. 별로
안
궁금하지가
먹어봤다.
않아졌어.
맛있다.
다행이네.
달콤한 맛인데
이게 딱 그 위에 뿌린 게 다진 마늘하고 파슬리 기름에 절여둔 거거든. 주은이 희한하게 접어서 먹네. 근데 이게 오히려 밸런스가 더 잘 맞을 수도 있어.
그럴 수도?
크러스트랑
맞아.
중간이랑 합쳐져서. 내가 너무 편협한 사고를 갖고 있었던 거.
아니야 이렇게 잡혀서 살짝 기분이 안 좋았어.
아 그래? 의도한 줄 알았어.
어렵지.
요즘 더로우 엄청 잘 나가잖아. 그
더러워.
The Row. Haven't heard of it? 엄청 핫하고 엄청 잘 나가. 더럽게 비싸. 근데 걔네도 나는 무슨 로우가 이 로우인 줄 알았는데 영국의 무슨 그 이지를 하고 있는 그 영국의 그 테일러들이 잔뜩 모여있는 거리 이름이 무슨 로우더라고. 그래서 그렇게 테일러 하는 그런 정신으로 한다는 뜻인가 봐.
그래 그렇게 약간 의미를 하면 뭐가 좀 멋있네.
그래서 이게 디자이너들이 그냥 자기 이름 걸고 하는 게 다 이름 짓다가 머리 아파서 그냥 자기 이름 걸고 하는 거야. 자기 아이덴티티를 보여주겠다 이런 느낌으로. 누나도 옷 좋아하니까 더러워 한번 봐봐. 눈 돌아가 진짜.
어 진짜?
개 이쁨. 미쳤어. 근데 로고 플레이 이런 거 하나도 없는데 막 코트 하나에 5,000불 이래가지고
미쳤다. 미쳤다.
원단 엄청 좋은 거 쓰고 패턴도 되게 예뻐. It's too cold to film outside today.